Now in verse 3, again going back to Surah 70, the ways of ascent, we are informed that Allah is the Lord of the ways of ascent. Now that seems to be an unusual attribute of Allah. Well, a Lord, or as it's called in Arabic, Rab, is one who governs the affairs of another in an effort to guide that person through the necessary stages that lead to their perfection or to the fulfillment of that which he or she is predestined to accomplish. That's what a Lord does. A Lord is not sitting somewhere where you can shine his or her shoes or carry his or her bags or give him or her or he or she a manicure. They're responsible for knowing your purpose, or at least seeing some indication of it, and helping you along in that way. That's a Lord. Well, what is ascent? Ascent is an act of ascending, which is upward movement or a rising movement. Now, Allah, as the best knower, plans and orchestrates the means through which his divine servants and his chosen people mature and rise into the fulfillment of their purpose or destiny. Now, there's much to consider when we examine the Honorable Louis Farrakhan today as the Messiah and predestined Christ. We can never fully comprehend that which was involved in his transformation and ascendance into divine power, meaning his journey from someone who once did not have the knowledge of himself or of God like all of us, to one who is now on the throne of God with his spiritual father, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Notwithstanding our inability to comprehend the full measure of what was involved in his transformation, we have witnessed the presence and work of the Honorable Louis Farrakhan enough to sincerely consider the ways or methods that Allah used to assure the Honorable Louis Farrakhan's ascension to his throne of power, his meaning Allah's throne of power. Now we can find some of these ways in the Quranic and biblical narratives about the prophets. The Messiah, as it states, coming in the volume of the book or in the volume of the Messianic Prophecies, means that he fulfills key aspects of the lives of the prophets, which includes prophets such as Noah, Abraham, Moses, David, Joseph, Jonah, Jesus, and Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon them. The fulfillment of many significant events described in these prophetic narratives represent the means through which the Honorable Louis Farrakhan has developed into his predestined function as the Messiah and in the executive powers of the Christ, which is that power that ends Satan's world. Now let's consider this. In the Holy Quran, we discover that several prophets had to undergo a brief period of intense trial and tribulation. We recognize, according to these narratives, how these events were attached to their evolution or elevation into divine power for greater service in executing Allah's will. Now, my previous 3 messages about the Honorable Louis Farrakhan's ongoing fulfillment of the biblical and Quranic narratives of Joseph illustrates how Allah brings his honored servants through various difficulties, all of which lend to their growth and development. As we know, Joseph's journey included being sold into bondage by his brethren, to eventually becoming the Lord over the land of Egypt, which was his predestined function, as he knew from the outset, based on the vision that God gave him. Now, in light of this, let us consider Moses' journey, since it mirrors that of Joseph's journey. Now, it states in the Holy Quran concerning Moses, "Surely Pharaoh exalted himself in the land and made its people into parties, weakening one party from among them. He slaughtered their sons and let their women live. Surely he was one of the mischief makers. And we desire to bestow a favor upon those who were deemed weak in the land, and to make them the leaders, and to make them the heirs, and to grant them power in the land, and to make Pharaoh and Haman or Haman and their hosts see from them what they feared. And we revealed to Moses' mother, saying, give him suck. Then, when thou fearest for him, cast him into the river, and fear not, nor grieve. Surely we shall bring him back to thee, and make him one of the messengers. So Pharaoh's people took him up that he might be an enemy and a grief to them. Surely Pharaoh and Haman and their hosts were wrongdoers. And Pharaoh's wife said, a refreshment of the eye to me and to thee, slay him not. Maybe he will be useful to us, or we may take him for a son. And they perceived not. These verses give us Allah's plan for the black people of the Western Hemisphere, which is, according to these verses, to bestow favor upon us, to make us the leaders, and to make us the heirs, and to grant us power in the land, and to make the President of the United States government and the satanic leaders of the synagogue of Satan see from us what they feared, which is our infinite rise and our dominance over those who once enslaved us. These verses also give us the Messiah's purpose or assignment, which applies to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. They are raised to execute Allah's will in this regard by lifting his chosen people to prominence right in the midst of their mortal enemies.